All right, hello and welcome to episode 53 of the Too Hard to Pass podcast. I'm your co-host, Juan Martinez, and to my left or to my right, Jacques Slade is here and he's back.
Yo. What up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We got a good show for you guys. A very wide mix of topics on the show today. Not the usual, very like, it's all related, but it's a very wide group of topics, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how people respond to this, see how they receive this us branching out a little bit and talking about a few different things.
So Jacques, you're back from the Great North. That what it's called, right?
The Pacific Northwest.
Pacific Northwest. Yes.
Yeah. It was actually very nice weather, surprisingly. You hear all these bad things about the Pacific Northwest, about it's gray and cold and rainy, and it was definitely like gray when I got there, but it all just burnt off, and it ended up being a really beautiful day. Probably like 80 degrees, between like 70 and 80, light breeze in the air. We were playing right off the Puget Sound. It was really a nice day. I guess I imagine it was unordinarily nice for this time of year for Seattle, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'd go back anytime to enjoy that if the weather's like that all the time.
So to clarify, Jacques was at Chambers Bay. And, was there for a golf outing. Was this a brand thing, or was it just like a quick golf vacay?
No. So have a friend who works for a brand, and they had some openings at Chambers Bay, and they asked me if I wanted to come up. So it was a bit of a, go play golf with the homie, but also do a little bit of networking kind of thing. And then also get to play Chambers Bay. So it was cool. Like, obviously there's a lot of history at Chambers Bay. It's a links style golf course. It's a really beautiful course. I'd say it made itself into my, I would say my top 20 courses. It made its way into that. It's a long walk though. There's no carts, so you have to walk. So that presents its own set of challenges because it's not an easy walk. And when you're bad at golf, like I am, you're walking all over the place, which makes it even more challenging. But overall, fantastic experience. The food was good, which is great. Sometimes you go to a golf course and the food is pretty crappy, but they had a really nice burger. Fries were nice and crisp and nicely salted. And then on the course, not a lot of food on course, just like chips and stuff like that. So, if I'm going to start reviewing golf courses, I would say Chambers Bay probably should add a little more variety to the offerings on course. Right, but besides that, everything else was great. Yeah.
You should start like a series of reels where you're like rating these golf courses by like sneakers. By like, this golf course is the Air Jordan 1 of sneakers, which would basically be like, St. Andrews or something, right? Because it's the OG.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that would be more like the Chuck Taylor, really, more than anything. Like St. Andrews would be like...
Yeah, I guess Chuck Taylor is like the... Yeah, St. Andrews, yeah. Chambers Bay is more like a... a Jordan 1 is a good... Because it's like it's a link style, so like an older classic style. So an Air Force One or Air Jordan 1, something like that. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So maybe something like the Masters, Augusta National would be like a luxury sneaker or something like that. Like something a little bit higher up, like a Louis Vuitton Air Force One, or if you want to keep it like just in that kind of range and not just straight luxury or something like that. But yeah, no. So my thought would be like, what would be like, the LeBron 5 or something, just something out of nowhere, or like what would be like a Kobe, style of golf course or something
Kobe would
like
be
that,
a good one. Kobe's a good one. Kobe, I feel like Kobe would have to be something like Bethpage. Just because it's a hard course, gotta be very focused. I feel like Bethpage is kind of like the Kobe, the Kobe 5 or whatever it is, the Kobe 6, whichever sneaker is in your Kobe rotation.
Yeah, so we just had
Huh.
the
Yeah.
no, that I feel like that could be, something that kind of bridges the gap, as you like to say, with
Yeah.
your golf friends and your sneaker friends and everything. So I feel like that would be a interesting idea. And that definitely is like we just had like a quick pitch meeting right there in between this
Yeah,
podcast. Like, oh,
basically.
it'd be a good
Basically,
idea.
yeah. Yeah. Well, now when I put together, I still have to put together like a POV recap, and I'm definitely gonna throw that in there.
Nice, nice. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad you had fun. You forgot the part where you mentioned that you took the PJ on the way there to up north.
If by
So
PJ you mean Delta out of LAX, then yes, you are absolutely correct. If that's what you mean by PJ.
first class.
Otherwise,
it's okay. You don't have.
no, main cabin.
Not even business class. Come on, Jacques. What are we doing here? We got an image
No.
to maintain for you, man. Come on, business class. At least.
I'm just a regular dude. That's the image of me. It's just a regular dude out here trying to fix his golf swing. That's all.
Come on, man. We got an image to maintain here, man. Come on, man. Like, we got to flex on the internet, dude. That's how we do. No, we don't. Absolutely not. We do not flex. We are not those
for the
people.
internet flex. You got to make it look good on Instagram. I was not in a fancy seat, so the Instagram will never know.
Yes, but the Chambers Bay part is definitely like that's the part. That's the flex. Is being able to go there and
Chambers Bay was amazing. It was amazing.
Yep. Doesn't matter how you got there, as long as you got there, and you got the content out of it. So definitely cool. Well, I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a cool course.
Yeah.
What about you? What did you do?
Oh Lord, I would like to apologize to everybody who is watching this intro right now for wearing this dumbass hat. Over the weekend, I went to the Oasis concert out at the Rose Bowl. Yeah. They reunited for like the first time, like the brothers Noel and Liam Gallagher. They reunited for the first time in like 20 something years because they legendarily feud with each other, hate each other, talk shit about each other online or on interviews and stuff. And they finally reunited because there's probably a lot of money involved. So
yeah, well, quite a bit of money, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, like it's a worldwide tour, so they've been all over the place. And I believe like this is the last stop in their U.S. Part of the tour. So for me, I was like, I'm not really a big concert going person, to be quite honest. Like I can count maybe in the number of times that I've been to a concert that I paid for. Like I've been to concerts that brands, back in the days, like brands would send you out on hey, go watch this Rihanna concert or something like that. So, but me personally, I'm just not big into it because I don't know. I kind of just like the studio experience. Like I like when it's manufactured in the way that they want it to sound. So that's always been like my preference.
Right.
And sometimes you don't know what you're gonna get when you go live. I ended up parking on the golf course, and I'm like, boy, this is. And just like, I'm walking through like the golf course. I'm like, this is not the prettiest golf course either. It's not well maintained. It's not not a lot. It's
actually pretty. It's nice with the exception of because they do that parking, that first little that section of the course is in worse condition than the rest of the course. Like the rest of the course it's not, mind you, it's not a beautiful, it's not like you're not Augusta or anything like that. It's a nice decent course, but that section where all the parking is, like that section just gets beat up because cars park over there and driving in a tire. Like it's just. Yeah, I don't know how they can't maintain that area, so it always looks pretty messy over there, like a lot of dirt and dry patches and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I ended up like seeing that part of the golf course. I didn't get to see the rest, so I didn't I couldn't judge it by the rest of it. But yeah, I figure it's just because there's just a lot of people, and the parking lot itself, the actual Rose Bowl parking lot, is like small in compared to like say the parking at SoFi. Or like at regular football stadium, right? Like there's ample parking at these other places. It's just with the Rose Bowl, it's like, go figure it out once you get there. So yeah, in terms of like, the actual concert itself, it was like just one of those moments where you're like, man, like I was listening to these guys when I was a kid. Like I remember listening to them, hearing them for like the first time, like, on MTV. I was like, oh, cool. Like, this rock band from the UK is like sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool and all that stuff. And I remember hearing one of their albums for like the first time, like at the Virgin Mega Store when they still had those. Like I think it was on Ontario Mills. And I just listened to that whole album there until I could convince my parents to until I could convince my dad or my mom to be like, "Can you buy me the CD? I know it's 17.99, but please." Or
Oh,
something like
seventeen
that.
ninety nine.
Yep,
Wow.
those were the days. Yep, when CDs were like the 17, like almost $20, and you're like, "That's a lot of money," or something.
For
But
one album.
anyways,
And
oh yeah,
yeah.
for one album, yeah. And once you do get it, you listen to the whole thing, front to back, just like
Over
countless
and over
hours and
again.
over and
Yeah,
over
just
and over
over
again.
and
Yeah,
over and over again.
that's
Yeah.
the thing that's the thing that kids do not realize that they're missing out on, is like just the whole album experience. It's all like everything is like, provided for them by the algorithm, recommendations and all that stuff. So they get to pick and choose, which is nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like having like this wide variety that you can choose from. Like you have so much access to music now that it's kind of crazy, but you're
Yeah.
also kind of missing out on like that whole album experience nowadays. Like
Yep.
you don't even bother to listen to like, from track one till the end. So, you have like these deep cuts that, not a lot of people are big fans of, or, like particular tracks that maybe did not become a video, did not become a single, but you're a fan of it. And then when you meet a like-minded person who's like super into that song, you're like, you'll bond over that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So as for like the experience itself, pretty cool. The concert, the merch situation was, as you might expect, long lines to get like exclusive merch and all that stuff. They had a collaboration with Adidas, so they had football
Yes.
jerseys, a soccer jersey, football, whatever you want to call it, track jackets and all that stuff. By the time I got to the merch store, unfortunately the jerseys were sold out. So I ended up getting this hat that is too small for my head, and that's
Okay.
a shame. So I ended up giving it to someone else so I can stop wearing it now. I just wanted to.
Just wanted to
I
wear it
didn't want to
for
wear
just to start the pod
just
with the hat
just to
on.
fire podcast, but I was like, it's a little too tight on my head.
That's funny.
Yes, but I ended up buying the track jacket. Yeah,
Nice. That's cool.
concert.
They have. I
Yeah,
mean, they have
concert
their
was
shoes too.
awesome.
They didn't have. Did they have
Yeah,
the shoes
yeah.
there?
Oh, they didn't have the shoes.
Oh, the shoes
They
were
didn't
there
have the
too.
shoes.
Oh,
Nah.
okay.
Oh, that would have been a fun time, like lugging that around, like while you're at the concert and everything. It's like,
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Although I would have given it a shot, like I would have been like lugging it around. As for the Rose Bowl itself, well, it still looks like the Rose Bowl. Maybe it's kind of like the
Yeah.
LA Coliseum. It's still got that old school vibe and feel. It's not like your
Yeah.
modern day, SoFi or other kind of football stadium where it just feels like, there's a lot of money put into this. And
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
Rose
they
Bowl,
don't
it's
feel
like,
like that.
no, it's still got that old school feel, which is cool. Which is cool if you're like a particular kind of like fan who is into like that old, almost 100-year like history and all that stuff. For me personally, I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
wish these chairs were better. I wish the seating was a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, no. As for the experiences of the concert, it was great. I don't know why I was like just so impressed with like the sound. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if I was expecting like some sort, because it was like open air. You think it might sound a
Yeah.
little hokey or janky, a little bit like that, but it was super crystal clear. Everything was just well made, well produced, well put together. The show itself was great. Like big screens, you could see like the band, and the way that they superimpose
Yeah.
them to make it look like it's like like it feels like music videos from the 90s, but like they're superimposed in like the graphics. So it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But just the sound was just so, just like, I was like, man, so this is where the money that I paid for the tickets went to. Was like the sound of was just so impressive to me. It sounded like I was like really up close and everything. But yeah, man, like I know it's been like 20 years since they were in their prime, but they still sounded as good as they did even back in the days. And fortunately, I got to sit to like some very enthusiastic people from Liverpool who were like just wildly
Okay.
drunk and very high by the time we got to like halfway through the concert. So it was
God
very
bless
much
them.
like, yeah, like it started out, I was like, oh, okay. cool, just sitting around like, like-minded folks and just, super, oh, you're into Oasis. Like, how did you get into it and all that stuff? You talk to like the people next to you. And it's like, it's kind of like when you're you're boarding a plane and you're like, it's just you and you make, small
Yeah.
talk with the people next to you and
Small
all that
talk
stuff.
with
It's kind
somebody.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. But once the concert starts, everybody's like singing along and like just having a grand old time. It kind of reminded me when I was in Europe when I saw that football club and they won their first championship in like 80 something years or whatever, and just the bonding experience that those people had who have just been fans since the beginning, and just to be like there
Oh yeah.
around those kind of people is just cool. It's just this very cool communal experience. Gosh, I'm not even like the biggest like, super fan or anything like that. I stopped listening to their output after like the 2000s. So I was very much like a mainstream fan. So like, I'm not like
Oh,
one of those
okay.
dudes who like listens to all the B cuts, the B sides and all like, oh, do you know this like exclusive track that was only like, in this Japan, like only single that dropped like in 1996? I'm like, nah, I like Wonderwall. You know, I like I like I like
Jeez.
the most basic songs, but also some deep like like Be Here Now and like What's the Story, Morning Glory, like the beat the like the the lesser known tracks from there. I know those, but anything after like the year 2000 whatever, like I wasn't really like paying attention that much. So for me, it was very much like a nostalgia moment for like my 90s you know, kind of fandom and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So very cool, very cool. So I greatly appreciate that.
That makes
So
sense. That makes
anyway,
sense.
yeah. So anyways, moving on to the show. That might be like one of the longer intros we've ever done. Like like one of our longest rambles in
Yeah.
quite a bit. So let's start with a brand that we really don't talk a lot about on this show, man. Like Vans. Vans, they are
Yes.
having quite an interesting moment
A
right
moment.
now.
Yeah. Good for and
Yeah,
good for
yeah,
them too.
yeah. I mean, we all have our pairs of Vans. We all, rocked like, old schools and all that stuff, slip-ons, as kids and all that. So, but I've never really thought of them as something that really kind of captures like the zeitgeist, like the sneaker zeitgeist in a way. They're just always just a constant. They're just there, whether they do a collab with like a popular brand or anything like that. But it's never like people are lining up for them or freaking out over them or, paying obscene
Right. Yeah.
amounts of
Yeah.
resale
Very,
over them.
very, very rarely do
Yeah.
we hear that.
Like there might be like a collab that, people really like super into. Like I remember when they did a collaboration with like Sailor Moon, and my sister's really into Sailor Moon. So she went there like the first day that the collab dropped and grabbed like two pairs of like, the slip-ons and the old schools and all that stuff. So, but yeah, like nothing crazy or anything like that. But this one, there's a new Van sneaker that's called Souvenir. Well, actually it's the second pair, but a lot of people were lining up for it over the past weekend when it dropped. And I thought it was kind of interesting because it's called a souvenir and it's based on a luxury Chanel bag that dropped, I think, in 2015. And it's like a very un-Chanel like bag. When you think of a Chanel bag, you think of like, very high class, top quality,
Yeah.
quilted leather, like, the interlocking C logo and all that stuff. So, you don't
Yeah.
think of
And
it as like,
this is nothing like that.
this is nothing like
This shoe
that.
is.
So, and maybe that's why, because I didn't know about it. I probably shouldn't. I could have asked my sister or like my mom about that bag. They probably would know about it, or maybe my sister has it, but I don't know. But yeah, no, the bag was quite an interesting departure from like the Chanel look. It's got a very like worn out, dingy look. It looks like very 70s hippie kind of
Mm,
vibe with like, kind
yeah.
of like a very earth tones and everything. So the bag was maybe that's why people kind of really liked it, was because it's very much like not like a lot of what the brand puts out there. So it became like a very popular bag. And Vans, for I don't know reasons that are unknown to me, maybe I haven't done the research, but they released a pair called the Souvenir last year that people bought up, and like the resale is like 300 $400 now for a pair of Vans, which is kind of wild. So it ended up being very popular sneaker last year. Oh wait, last year, was it, or was it last year, or was it earlier this year? But anyways, like a burgundy pair dropped like this past weekend, which is, not the same color as the bag. So I figured maybe it's not going to be as popular, but I'm wrong. People started copying it, and the sneaker, just a lot of people are really super into that. And I just thought it was kind of an interesting moment for Vans, just because you don't hear about them getting this much attention, like unless it's like, oh, Kevin Durant wore a pair of Vans, or like so and so celebrity wore a pair of Vans or something like that. But it's never like
Yeah.
Van sellout or something like that. Even like that kid, what was it, that
Vans
meme?
reselling.
Like, yeah, or was it that that
Oh,
meme, the kid, like he wore Vans and like
Daniel.
Oh yeah. But you're not gonna have a problem buying Vans though. You're not gonna like go to the store and be like, oh, we sold out of Vans, so or anything like that. So yeah, just to hear like something like this is happening for Vans, it's just pretty cool. Just because it's Vans, we've all been around Vans, being California people all our life, well, most of our lives, but just being around that and just hearing that they've had this kind of like successful kind of launch, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting, and it's obviously a change in pace for the brand. But
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of needs that energy right now. The rising tide lifts all boats. So the better they do, I think the better everybody else will do. And the shoe looks cool. I mean, I didn't, when I first saw it, I didn't get the Chanel comparison, but it didn't remind me off the top of my head of a Chanel thing. So I don't know if that's like a very niche Chanel purse that it reminds people of, or if it's like a super popular one. But, kudos to them for making a nice high quality shoe that people are into. And, I mean, we'll see what happens. See if they can keep that momentum. Maybe they have a couple more. I mean, both the brown one and the burgundy one are on StockX right now. The brown is $261, I believe it is. No, the Vans Old School 36 warm brown is $339, and then the one that just says, let me see. Hold on, where was it? I just had it. I think the burgundy one, yeah, is $230. So the burgundy one is like $100 cheaper at this point.
Yeah. Probably because like it's not
at least on resale asking.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably because like the sneaker itself, the colorway is not the same as the bag, so maybe that's why it's not as the resale isn't the same as like the original. So yeah, I mean, maybe this is just like a flash in the pan kind of moment. Like, it's not gonna be something that's gonna continue moving forward. But I just thought it was pretty cool to see Vans just take over the headlines for a little bit. Like I said, like you said, like it's always nice when you see these different brands pop up. It's like it's almost funny. It always reminds me of like, when somebody like, wins a tournament that you don't expect to win, like, a golf tournament that you're like, oh, so-and-so like won the Masters or like the US Open, or like so-and-so made a podium on F1 for like the first time in their career or something like that. Just something you don't expect to happen. And it's neat that, in the sneaker world, that there is stuff like this that does happen every once in a while, especially for like Vans, just because, like I said, we're just people who have just been around Vans all our lives. And it's like,
like 100%. Nice, it's just like a shoe. But like if you look at the StockX, you can see how big of an outlier these are, because it's like 232, 239, or what did I say? 320, 339. But everything else on StockX is like 39, 36, 95, 48, 28. Like, there's some $150 pairs in here. But in general, you kind of see the idea. Like Vans just isn't related or associated. I should not say related. Associated with the resale market in this way. But it's good. It's good to see them being introduced to it in a different way.
Yeah, and like I have to wonder though, like who is going on who is buying up pairs of Vans to resell on StockX? Like why? Like for example, like these checkerboard Vans that I'm sure you have, skater friends or that own a pair of these, like probably like 2 or 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs of these, and like you could probably go to like any Vans store right now and get them, but someone's trying to resell them in our size 11 for $111. I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why would you
do that? They won't get $111 out of me. I can assure you that.
But they will get like, how much? Wait, those are $90? Wait, these Vans are $90? What Vans are worth $90 retail? Like I always thought they were like 50, 60 at most. So I'm like, oh, okay. But I know these souvenirs I think are like 125. But that one I do understand because of like, the special edition of it all and all that stuff. But like
Yeah,
typical
Vans are
Vans are
moving up in
like,
the world, man. Let's not put them in the box. They moving up
oh, sure, sure, sure. I'm not trying to. I was just shocked at the price, but it's like I get it. They have to like adjust to like current situations and all that
to the
stuff, and just
times.
to
Yeah,
the times and all that stuff. So no problem with that. I was just like, oh, that's what Vans are worth now. Oh, interesting. Anyways,
yeah.
yeah, man, like cool on Vans for having that moment. Shout out to them, and yeah, hopefully we see more of them. Like whether it's like a cool collab or like just they come out with a sneaker that captures a moment or something like that. Hopefully it's just something that we get to see more of in the future. All right, so moving on to our next topic, Jacques. The Hall of Fame, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame was this past weekend, and we got to see a lot of it's very much like a oh god, I feel old moment because like you see the people who are getting inducted now is like people that we grew up like, watching and admiring
Yep.
and all that stuff. So like Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, the 2008 Olympic basketball team was like, oh man, like LeBron in like one of those jackets. I'm like, oh no, this isn't supposed to happen for like another 10, 15 years because he's going to play forever, right? Don't make me feel old, LeBron. Come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Nah, this is it.
Um,
This is it.
yeah. And Maya Moore was also part of that class. One of the greatest well, just in general, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, period. Multiple time WNBA champion, gold medalist, just a college champ, just someone who rarely lost. Just somebody who was just
Yeah,
on
that's good.
just a
That's a good way to
wild,
describe her. Someone who
yeah,
rarely lost. That's a good
rarely
way.
lost.
Yeah.
Like I think I read like a thing where she barely lost in high school. Definitely didn't lose a lot in college because she basically just won
Yeah.
every time out. And then in the WNBA, she did not have like the longest career because she stepped away to
She stepped away
pursue,
to help
yeah, to help
social
with
justice for like
social
her
justice.
now husband.
Hmm. Yeah. And very much like a very noteworthy cause, very like worthwhile cause. It's very much
Yeah.
admirable to step down from like a Hall of Fame WNBA career to pursue like something that's greater than sports. So very
Yeah,
much
it's cool. I mean, it's
respect
cool,
them.
and it's cool that she made it into the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah,
always
and
rooting for her.
well deserved, well deserved. And then there was a Jordan brand spot. Obviously, they were going to drop like an ad commercial for her because she's definitely up there in terms of like Jordan brand athletes, whether it's male or women. So
Male or female. Yeah.
yep, definitely. And Maya, for her part, recreated the Jordan rings picture. Everybody knows what that is. It's the one where like MJ's just posing and he's got all of his rings with him, just showing them off like, yeah, I'm that guy. And Maya did the same thing, but along with her WNBA rings, she also added her like, Team USA rings, her college
Hmm.
rings. Maybe there's a high school ring in there and all that stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, yep, nope, it just shows her dominance, just, how great she
Yep.
was, throughout her entire career and, even before she became a pro. So I thought that was and it's also an homage to Jordan. It's an homage to like,
Yep. An homage to Jordan,
the
who she
original.
signed with,
Yep.
and then she also has rings. But
Yeah.
but how did the internet react to this one?
The internet reacted to see. I was like, so like, oh, I'm just so annoyed by it. Yes, the internet reacted to it like they're a bunch of garbage people. Anyway, so they were just a lot of people were like posting, who's this? How dare they like freaking like freaking like talk about MJ this way, show off like copy MJ this way. It was just a lot of like misogynistic garbage crap and all that stuff. And I'm like, and then like for the people who are saying like, who is this? And I'm like, you guys just like revel in like your ignorance. Like I'm proud to not know who Maya Moore is. Like I didn't. Do you know the Dunning Kruger effect, Jock? You know what that's about?
I don't know
Like
what that's about. No.
yeah, no, it's this thing that I've kind of been reading ever since like, this current world that we live in where like people are denying science, intellectualism, and all that stuff. And like people just revel in like not knowing stuff. Like, do you remember this
Oh, right.
old Chris? Yeah, do you remember like this old Chris Rock bit where like, he was talking about like people who are like people who, you know, go to college and are really smart and all that stuff. But then when they go back to like their old neighborhood, they like talk to other people, and like the people that they're talking to, like they revel in like not knowing stuff. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
this, like in a wider sense, right? Where people are like, yeah, I don't know who Maya Moore is, and I'm proud of it. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I hate, like, you know, it's like, shut up, man. Like, either if
Yeah,
you
the
don't
I'm
know,
proud
just
of it
move
part
on
is
with, yeah.
wild.
Yeah, man. It's like, I'm proud to not know this crap. Like, you know, you already expect like the people who are like not into like the WNBA or to like women's sports in general just to be like the typical jackass. Like, you already
Yeah.
expect that to be the case, but to be like, who is this? Or post like the Snoop gif, like the who, you know, that thing. And just to be like, to wear that like with a badge of honor is just really like, just, it just got on my nerves like this morning when I saw some of those reactions. And it was like, come on, people.
Honestly, as it should get on your nerves, because that's just stupid. Like, for obviously she has to be somebody to be getting into the Hall of Fame, but you know,
Right.
never mind. It can get me all riled up and angry, but we have to expect it. It's the internet, so
See,
we
you don't
just
want
take it with
to,
the
you don't want to go,
take
you
it
don't
with
want
the
to go,
grain
you
of
don't want to
salt.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
It's like, and I get it. Like, you know, there's also people who are like just doing that for like engagement and to like, you know, get people riled up and
yeah,
like, you know, oh, this person does it. This person hates women. And it's like, oh, I'll follow that person, which makes you like a scummier person too. If you're like, think that's funny or think that's anything worthwhile to, that's a worthwhile follow, is to be like, oh, yay, like I will follow this ignorant dumbass too. Like, you know, cause he's a hater. And I'm assuming it's a guy because it's typically a guy. So it's
typically
like,
a guy, because a woman's not gonna be like, oh, who's that? That's not.
yeah. Or if you don't know,
Yeah,
just don't say anything, man. Like, you know, and if and
right,
you're just, yeah, and you're just celebrating somebody who made the Hall of Fame. Like if there was like a great women's soccer player who made like the soccer Hall of Fame, right? If I don't know who they are, I'm just gonna move it all along. Maybe not even say anything. Or if
right.
I do,
Eat
tip
it.
of the cap. Congratulations. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like,
Congrats. Well done. You did
yeah.
it.
I don't know who you are, but I'm sure you were great. Like, you know, but for me to be like, who's that? Why should I care? Or something like that. It's like, nah, man, just shut up. just
Out of
move it along. Just
yeah.
don't. There's no reason for you to be a disrespectful jerk off. There's absolutely no
No reason
reason.
at all. People, I think, you know, instead of like aura farming, they're like engagement farming. So just
Yeah.
let them do their thing. They're
Yeah,
out
man.
there
And
in enragement. I should say not even engagement, like enragement farming.
yep.
Just trying to get people riled up for no reason.
Yeah. So let this be a lesson. Don't be like me who just gets mad about it. Just ignore it.
Don't be like
And, you know,
me.
don't be like me who just was like, oh, come on, man. Like, you know, and I know it made for like this segment. It made like this segment for the show and everything. But yeah, just ignore it. Like, just don't be that person who, you know, engages with it. And, you know, eventually they just do go away for the most part. Like, you know, obviously there's stuff that goes too far. And obviously we live in this current world right now where we are denying stuff that's proven, stuff that, you know, science, stuff in the medical field that has been proven for decades and maybe even centuries that, you know, hey, you know why you don't hear about polio anymore? It's because we figured it out.
Come
You
on,
know why we
bro.
don't hear about measles? Yeah, you know. Anyway, I don't want to get into it.
I'm about to say, let's not turn this. We're going to keep it light today.
Keep it light. Yeah, man. But over the week, yes, that whole, yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to bring that up.
So that sucks for Maya. Sorry you had to go through that, Maya. Because I know I know you're watching this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah, right. Sure.
Yes, but you deserve better. But actually, you do deserve better because you're in the Hall of Fame. You are a well-deserved member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. So yes, definitely congratulations to her. Congratulations to everybody else who made the Hall of Fame, even those who I don't recognize on there. But yeah, man, like it was just it was very cool to see like people that we it's not even grow up because we're already like adults by the time like people like Carmelo and Dwight Howard and Maya Moore when they were playing. We were already like adults. So it's more like just seeing them through the entirety of the careers to watch them is like, you know, we already understand basketball. So it was like cool to see like these players go through like, you know, from the beginning till, you know, the middle parts to parts where they sucked till the very end. And then now they're in the Hall of Fame. Dwight was very much, shout out to Dwight for being very magnanimous and not really talking shit about Shaq. Like he could have taken like a very like he could have taken a scorched
direct
earth. Like
line.
I still
Yeah.
made it in spite of your hating. Like so
Yeah.
shout out to him for taking the high road in that regard. And here's the thing though. Like I noticed that they inducted also the 2008 basketball team, the Team USA basketball team on there. Isn't that kind of sucky for like Melo and Dwight because they were part of that team, so they don't get the double dip in this case? Like for example,
I
LeBron,
don't
he got in like for
I
the
don't know if you get
2008
to
team.
double dip.
No, what I'm saying is like you get to be inducted like in this ceremony as a player, and then like a couple years down the line you get to be inducted in twice, so you get to like get invited to like do the whole ceremony, do the whole pomp and circumstance twice.
Oh, got you.
That's what
So yeah,
yeah
so
yeah
then
yeah
yeah.
yeah. So for like Dwight and Melo, it's like, oh, we only get to do this once, that kind of thing. Like for LeBron, he does it for 2008. I'm sure at some point they'll also induct in 2012. I'm sure 50 years from now, however long, they're going to induct the 2024 Olympic team because that was legendary. Like they'll induct those. So, but for Melo, oh, maybe for Dwight, I don't know if Dwight made another Olympic team, but for Melo, he did make a couple other teams. So maybe he has another opportunity. But for Dwight, it's like, this is my one and done. Like, I'm not going to get
This is my
like,
one and done. Good
yeah,
for him.
right.
Good for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing.
And leave it at that. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better than not being recognized. Now, you'll forever live in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Totally. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's better to have that one. But also, there's a part of me that's like, oh man, like they're not gonna get that second chance to like do the whole thing, do the whole show and all that stuff. And also, it's cool for like players who probably won't make the Hall of Fame. Like, was it on that 2000 team like Carlos Boozer or Darren Williams or Michael Redd? Maybe they're probably not Hall of Fame worthy players, but they get to have that little moment of like, oh hey, we made it here. We made it through this team, so it's cool to have that.
Hey. Oh, hey.
Hey, guys. I'm a Hall of Famer, too. It's kind of like Christian Laettner is part of the Dream Team. It's like he was never going to sniff the Hall of Fame as a pro. Maybe as a college player, because he was a great college player, but definitely not as a pro. But he was part of the Dream Team, so he got in like on a technicality. So
on a technicality, yeah. I mean,
like,
cool,
hey,
good
man.
For him. Again, good for him.
Yeah, man. So
get in how you fit in, as they say.
Oh man. All right. So moving on to our next thing. Let's just do a little quick thing here, Jacques. Are you getting the Apple event went down today? They revealed their newest slate for 2025 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of things there. The AirPods Pro 3 I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah. There was a whole translate feature where it's like, oh, when you're having conversation with somebody in different language.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks super cool until I realized it's actually going through the phone. It's like, I was like, oh wait, does everything actually work through like the AirPods? It's actually not. It actually goes through the phone. So I'm like, oh, so you can't be like not with your phone. You always have to have like your phone with you while this thing's working. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a little diminished in that regard, but it's still a cool feature, especially if we're going to be like, traveling overseas in the near future. And, and you want to make sure that, you're like, oh, American.
I guess they kind of figure that you're going to have your phone with you all the time and you're not going to just kind of leave it somewhere without your AirPods. Cause if you did that, then they wouldn't work anymore because the Bluetooth only goes so far. So they feel like
can't you
got to
like
be by
connect it
your
to
phone.
To your watch? I didn't know wasn't there like a way to connect it to your watch?
Maybe you can. I've never tried that.
Yeah.
I've never tried that, but maybe you can connect it to your watch. That way you can listen while you run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. So I thought that was like, I've never actually tried it, so I actually don't know. So that was to me like an interesting, feature. Makes me want to buy like an AirPod Pro. Just want to like, re-up because it's been a while since I've had this one. I think this is like the Pro 1 or something. In terms of like the Apple Watch, I don't know. I didn't really see anything there that I thought was like a compelling, like must buy, whether it's the Ultra or maybe I'll just get another SE. I've always just been more like on the SE track in terms of like, the Apple Watch, because eventually the features that were like, heavily hyped on like, the previous years will end up on the SE at some point. So with this one, I don't know. I think I might, stay on the SE track in terms of like the Apple Watch. But moving on to the phones, we are now, we're back. Aluminum is back on the iPhones.
Aluminium.
And I'm like,
Aluminium's back.
And it's orange. That's a big deal, man. Orange aluminum.
That looks cool.
Or
It looks kind of cool
aluminium.
to me.
Yeah, I mean,
That orange one looks
it's
cool to me.
and that's what I like. I mean, even The Verge was talking about like how the orange aluminum is like it came at the right time and all that stuff. I'm like, really? I have no idea like why it's a big deal, but okay, cool. I mean, it definitely
Yeah.
stands out in comparison to other iPhones for sure. In terms of like the design, like the color and everything, it definitely pops in comparison to like your space grays or your
Yeah.
whatevers and all that stuff. So it definitely pops in that regard. Um,
I think
as somebody
it's
who,
essentially going to be like the statement phone for the year, the orange
hmm
one. Like
yeah,
I think
yeah,
people are
totally.
gonna like request the orange one. People are really gonna want that one.
It's kind of like when it was like the gold, like a couple years back, or like
Yeah.
the green, like the green. What was it like the iPhone 11? I think was it like the green or 13 or whatever. It was like just a very foresty green. Um, so yeah, like I thought it was a good presentation, but like as somebody who has a 16 and isn't going to be upgrading anytime soon, I kind of feel okay. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Like the features, the camera features, not really like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not hurting for it or anything like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. If you don't use your phone a lot, if you're not like super into doing stuff on your phone,
mhm,
like using it in a professional setting, you probably don't need to upgrade. I know that's not what Apple wants to hear, but if you're just a regular Joe Schmo that has your phone and goes to work and does it, like I use it for social media, and even I don't need a new one. I could probably justify it a little more than someone else that's not like in the
sure.
creative space.
Hmm.
Um, but you work at the bank, you don't need an iPhone 17. Not
What are you talking
not that
about?
I need to tell you how to spend your money, but if you're like working the bank or you work at, I don't know, the grocery store or wherever it is you work, there's no reason for you to get a new iPhone, especially if you have something within the last, I don't know, 3-4 years. You're probably good. Like I think people
Yeah.
need to start moving to like a 5-year cycle with their
Hmm.
phones if
Yeah.
if
There
they can
was.
keep them that long without destroying them.
That's true. That's true. That's basically the only thing that's like holding up some people is like, can I make this phone last long enough until like get every ounce of like usage out of this before I actually have to upgrade. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. Like the every 3, 4, 5 year cycle at this point because there was definitely a time where I was like, every year I need to get the new iPhone. When it was
Yep,
like the lower
same.
numbers, it was like the iPhone 4 or like the 5, and I was like there was definitely a run where I was like, every year I had to go get the new one. And then eventually, as the years went on, I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll pass. I'll wait for the better version. There's like, was it like the 5? And then like, no, I'll wait for like the 5G or like the 5S or whatever the better version is, right? Like, you never want to be the one who gets the first revision of, or like the first edition of
Yep.
like a new Apple product. You want to wait for like the revised version. So, the 17 seems like it's a leap from the 16, but I'm gonna wait for like the 18 or the 19 at this point, like because it's gonna be the better version of like the 17. So, and that's a pro tip for
Wait,
anybody.
you have
Like,
the 16, right? Didn't you get into you have the 16?
yeah, I have the 16. I have the 16
Yeah,
because
okay. I thought I remember. Yeah, yeah.
I am one of those people who was like, oh God, these tariffs are gonna screw me over. I need to go get the phone now. So I was like, so I got the 16. So
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. And then you realize, oh, of course, Tim Apple figured out an exemption for them. Of course he did.
Mr.
Who
Mr.
knows?
Apple, Mr.
Yeah,
Apple.
Tim Apple, as our president likes to call him. Um,
Yeah.
but who knows? Who knows if those exemptions will last? But at the same time, I'm like, now that I've seen the 17, I'm okay. I'm not like, oh man, I totally messed up by like upgrading like a
Yeah.
couple months too early or something like
I'm
that.
not pressed about it
Yeah.
either.
At the same time, though, do you feel bad that you can't get this new hotness that's called the iPhone Air? Like, what the hell is that?
No. I mean, it
Why?
looks cool. It looks
Does
cool,
it?
and I get it. People want a lighter. To me, it does. It's thin. Like I'm into the technology, so I'm like, oh, okay,
Sure.
that's cool. I don't think I want it, but I think it looks cool.
I, does it though? It's basically just like a thin credit, almost well, not credit card, but it's not that thin yet. But you know what? The thing that kind of messed me up with the iPhone Air is the camera bump. But they're not calling it a bump. It's like whatever they're calling it. But there's still that little bit that's like, it's not as thin as it should be because it still has that little bump for the
Because
camera
a little bump.
lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, that's what kind of messed me up with that. It was like, I would have been more impressed if it was like as thin as the rest of the phone. Like, if they had found a way to like push in the lens into like the phone itself, so it's actually like a one whole thin piece, then yes, I would probably be more impressed. I still wouldn't be like, what's the point? I'd probably still be like, what's the point of this? But you know, it's just not, I just saw it and I was like, man, I think I could snap. Like, I'm sure you probably just can't snap it. Like, everybody's making a joke, like, oh, I could snap that sucker and, like, whatever. Like, probably not. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm kind of fine with, like, having a little bit of a phone with, like, a little bit of a weight to it. Like, having just some sort of tactile feel or, like, something like that. But I get the tech. I understand, like, people being, like, you being impressed by it, like, the technology and all that stuff. I get that. I just don't know if it's something that I will desire other than to just see like, oh, it's thin. That's cool.
Yeah. Look
Yeah.
up the Pixel. It reminds me a lot of the Pixel. The Google Pixel 5, I think it is, 5 or 6.
Uh-huh.
And you'd be like, "Oh, this iPhone looks like that." That's what it reminded me of when I first saw it.
Also, what you're saying is like, Google, Android already figured this out like, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and Apple's just now getting to it.
In a sense, kinda, yeah. I guess so.
But of course, I'm an Apple person, so yeah, because I'm an Apple person, I don't really know or care like about whatever Samsung's doing. But now that Apple's doing it, it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, now I get to pay attention. Whatever. Like, phones for me are
Yeah,
just like, it's just, yeah, phones are just like it's just there now. It's not, it's just such a part of our lives that it's not really like this thing that like just blows my mind every time I see it now. Like, it's gonna take something really special for me to get to that point. I thought it was gonna be foldables. I thought it was like, maybe that was the thing that was gonna get me, was like those Galaxy fold phones. Like, maybe that was gonna like inspire me to like make the switch. But then when I get to like, try them out, I was like, do I really need this? Do I really see myself being that person who's like, other than the novelty of being like that annoying person who just likes to, open their flip phone and then snap it back, just make that stupid sound. Like, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, just give me something with a nice camera and like just runs fast, and I'm good.
Well, that's the iPhone Air. It has a good camera and it runs fast. So you're welcome. You're welcome from Tim Apple.
Shout out Tim Apple, man. he trying to he keeping it, man. He keeping the company alive, man. Like, he talking to the president just to make sure that they don't get screwed over or anything like that. All right, Jacques. So moving on to our next thing. We're running pretty late on the show, so we'll run through this pretty quick. You responded to a post by Roger Steele, noted golf influencer, host, pretty much do everything kind of guy. And I guess he asked, and I don't know what really inspired it, but I thought it was pretty interesting. And then you did reply to it. He put out a prompt out there for people to respond to, and it was basically one of 3 choices. Would you rather be a legend at the Masters, basically someone who won the Masters but didn't really win anything else, or wasn't like prominently like winning on other other tournaments and all that stuff? Or would you rather be someone who won the other 3 majors but didn't touch a Masters? Or would you rather be a PGA legend, Ryder Cup legend, but never won a major? So that elicited a lot of interesting responses, but it did go the way that I thought it would go. However, which is basically the people who majority of people went with the majors, either the Masters legend or the one who won the 3 other majors. However, you went with a different tact. You wanted to be the one who won a lot of PGA tournaments and also be a Ryder Cup legend instead of just somebody who won a lot of majors. Oh, the other majors, basically. So I'm going to give you a chance to explain yourself, man, because that's not the right correct answer.
Give you a chance to explain yourself. Here's my perspective on it. Option 3 would allow you to win more money and to win more tournaments in total. You don't win Masters, but you don't win majors. So my thinking is, in these other events, will I play the same people that
Mm-hmm.
I would have played in the majors and or I guess at the majors, including the Masters? And
Right.
the answer is yes. Like these are signature, like the PGA Tour signature events. So you
Mm-hmm.
win all of the signature events for that year. You beat all of those people that are going to play in the majors. You already beat them, and you get paid more money for it. And you have a
Mm-hmm.
full season of being a full season of crushing the tour. You don't win any majors, but you win. I don't know how we said the signature events. I think there's 8 signature events plus the Ryder
Mm-hmm.
Cup. So
Mm-hmm.
you win 9 times a season versus winning once or winning 3 times. Like to me, that's a no-brainer. Like take
Right.
the money, be dominant for an entire season, kick
Mm-hmm.
all of their asses because they're all going to
Right.
play in the signature events. They're all going to try and play, to get that money. So you're going to beat them anyway. Why
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice that for a green jacket or for what's technically or what's recognized as a major?
Mm-hmm.
So I came into golf later in life, so I didn't necessarily have the allegiances that other people had to events
Right.
like the
Mm-hmm.
majors. So I've I've literally asked people at the PGA Tour, like, so what makes this a major?
I love
And
that.
they don't have an answer for that. There is
Mm-hmm.
really no answer for why this is a major and this event is not.
Mm-hmm.
And so with all that in my mind, the strategy was like get the money, be dominant for a season, kick everyone's ass, whether you have a green jacket or not, you're good. So that was my reasoning.
Right. And that's a fair reasoning. And you brought up like the most interesting point about that is because you came into the sport later than, I did. I grew up
Uh-huh.
watching golf, appreciating golf, and being around like my dad and my brother who also love golf. And, we watched the Masters and just like watching it every year, just the tradition, the way the course looks and all that stuff. And then knowing the prestige and the importance that all of these players, the players themselves, place on majors. And that's why, like, I've always been like, these are the most important things in the golf world is like these major tournaments. And, you talked about like, oh yeah, well, I'm beating the same field, but which is fine, which is great, but you are not beating them at these big stages. That was always my thing was like, well, yes, you are defeating these players. It's the best fields and all that stuff, but you are not. It's weird to say, but you're not beating them when it counts, because for a lot of
Got it.
people, what counts are the majors.
Are
So
the
that's
people. Yeah,
why.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I did look it up. I did think about it. I was like, okay. So I did respond to your thing. I was like, well, what if you do this and all that stuff? Like, would you rather have the career of these? So I looked it up and I was looking through like a list of like players who were like, who's a Masters legend that didn't really do a lot outside of the Masters. And it turns
Uh-huh.
out it's Bubba Watson. Okay, so that's Bubba Watson. He's got 2 green jackets. Won a couple tournaments here and there, but it wasn't like, dominant in any other like tournament, or wasn't like, just the biggest name or anything like that. Like he's a popular player, but he has 2 Masters, but doesn't have anything else. So that's Bubba Watson for like Masters, quote unquote legend, because he's got 2, which is fine. And then you've got a player who has won the 3 other majors, but not the Masters. So I looked it up on Wikipedia. I was like, wait, who's a player who has like who has won the other 3 majors, but hasn't won the Masters? Basically, one away from a Grand Slam. It's
Uh-huh.
Lee
Uh-huh.
Trevino, or if you're a Simpsons fan, Lee Carvalho. So,
Like that.
yeah. So Lee Trevino, one of the greats of all time, just a legendary golfer. Won the PGA, won the Open, won the U.S. Open, and he doesn't have a Masters, which kind of sucks. The more I think about it, I'm like, oh man, Lee Trevino did not get the Grand Slam. That sucks. So
Yeah.
Lee Trevino is the one. Like that's a great career. Anybody would love to have a career
Yes.
that Lee Trevino had.
Yep.
And then you've got a PGA and Ryder Cup legend. Now here's the thing that I noted. Like when I was looking up like the list of like the greatest Ryder Cup players of all time, I was looking through like the American players. All of
Uh-huh.
them, all of the great. Because here's the thing, Tiger is not considered a great Ryder Cup player because his record is sketchy. It's not, the most dominant or anything like that. Because it's always been well talked about that Tiger is not like the best team player. And I'm not saying like he's not good with like his teammates, but in terms of like having to rely on someone else, whether it's 4-ball or like, best ball and all that stuff, he's just not the most. I don't know if it's like a trust thing or if it's like just because I'm Tiger Woods, damn it, I could just do this on my own, especially during the time when he was like Tiger Woods. So yeah, so Tiger doesn't have like the best record in the Ryder Cup. I think he has a better President's Cup record, which is weird, but he's not like, but if you look at the other legends, you look at Jack, you look at Arnie, you look at, Justin, like JT, even Justin Thomas, he's got a major. So there's not really a lot of great Ryder Cup players on the Team USA side who also did not win a major. Now I looked at the European side, and that was easy. I saw hating ass Colin Montgomery. The guy is a Ryder Cup legend, has won a lot of tournaments, on the European tour, never won shit here in America. That was always the thing. He always got people used to ride his ass on all the American tournaments because he was such a hater. And he was just like, imagine Patrick Reed back in the 90s. Like, when, Patrick Reed being like, the Captain America and all that stuff, being like that dude who like everybody loves to hate. That was Colin Montgomery in the 90s and like the early 2000s, especially on the Ryder Cup, but never won jack here in America. But he is a PGA Europe DP Tour, whatever you want to call it, legend. So he's won a lot of tournaments in the European Tour. So I would consider that like the legend. So if you were to ask me, would I rather have the career of Bubba Watson, Lee Trevino, or Colin Montgomery, take away the hating part, I still think I would pick Lee Trevino. It would suck to be like the dude who just doesn't like to have like that missing Masters, but I still think I would pick that one because if I'm the golfer who like, just grew up like, playing the sport and like knowing that these are the 4 most important things in the world, those majors, and even getting one, even any of them would just mean the world. And knowing that I would be like the dude who like won a lot of tournaments and just was like a freaking great at the Ryder Cup, but never won a major. I think it would, like, for me personally, I think it would eat at me. Like, it would just be like the most painful thing. Just be like, oh God, I never got to sniff a major. That would suck ass. So
like, I get it. I get that part. I just don't weight the majors in that same way, which sucks. Because and it's like I get that they're important, and I get that they're a metric to measure golf success by. But in the same token, I'm like, I still like, I beat these guys all the time. All the time. Just because I didn't do it at this one particular tournament. But also, I get it. I understand. So I think you probably have the right answer. And then when you put it to those 3 people, you definitely have the right answer. So I guess it's just a matter of perspective, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is. I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer, even though I made that joke. I was kidding a while ago. It's just more like because I was into golf earlier at a younger age compared to you. I think that's why it colors my judgment. It colors my like perspective on like what is the most important thing. So, okay. So, and I thought about it, like what would be like the basketball equivalent, right? So I didn't really think about it a lot, but would you rather have the career of Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, or Melo? So Anthony Davis, NBA champion. Damian Lillard doesn't have a championship, but he has an NBA Cup champion. He has an NBA Cup championship.
NBA Cup championship.
Yeah. Or Carmelo Anthony, Olympic legend, and just one of the greatest scorers of all time. So in that one, I think, God, I want to say I want to be AD, but at the same time, like, Melo, it's not like when you put it in that way, God, it wouldn't suck to be Melo too.
Yeah, that's I mean, it wouldn't suck to be Dame. This would be fair. It wouldn't suck to be Dame.
It wouldn't suck to be Dame either. And Dame is a gold medal. I think he did win was part of the 2020.
Yeah, I think he has yeah. So I would say I would have to go in that scenario. Jeez.
I would still think I think at the end of the day, I think I would pick AD, but
you would still pick AD?
I think so. Just because of like the pain of not winning a championship, I think would just be too much if I was Melo. Again, that's just my perspective and being like, that competitive part of me is like, damn, I never got to like, sniff that championship. So I still think I would pick AD, but it would be tougher. Like it's tougher for me to pick it in basketball than it is in golf. Like for me, Lee Trevino is just the easiest pick. But for this one, it's tough because with Melo, you're not only
you gotta go with I would have to go with Dame. I think I would have to go with Dame.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, man. Like, you have a championship, maybe not the biggest championship, but you also have like all of the accolades. And with Melo,
done all the things, played the game your way.
And it's just, and it's widely respected and admired. Like with Melo, it's like it's very much like a widely respected and admired, but also widely hated. I don't think there's like a contingent of fans who are like Dame haters. Like Dame seems to be like one of the more beloved figures in basketball. Not like with Melo, who's like a little bit polarizing. Polarizing is, I guess, the best word for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I don't know, man. Like AD, just being able to say you're a champ, it just holds a lot of weight. So I don't know.
No, I get that. It's one of those things that's the ultimate goal. And in golf, like the Masters is like that ultimate goal. It's like having that just changes your perception from people around you. It's why it meant so much to Rory, but I just like I feel like I could have a really great career in golf without winning the Masters.
Yeah, fair. And that's
or even any of the majors. Or any of the majors. Like, can you imagine somebody that never wins a major or wins the Masters, but has like 50 wins on tour? Like, who's going to say, what can they say to you? Nothing.
Except you never won a major, which again, it's just, it's tough. And I get it. Like I said, like your perspective coming into the sport a little bit later in life, I think really just, gives you that perspective. Like you don't have the same reverence for it, which is, a good thing. Like you just don't, you're not necessarily like, oh my gosh, like it's the end all be all. It's not like me where it's like, I would probably obsess over it. So, and I get that, and that's
got you,
and it's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
it's cool that you have that perspective.
I think you want that. I think you want that because that's how people will judge you. But you can also be like, yeah, but I also have 50 wins.
Yeah,
and
that's undeniable too.
Like your favorite Masters player, he has one win, and he won twice on tour.
That's fair, but so there's still a part of me that's like, man, I think I'd rather have that one.
Yeah, I got you. I hear you.
Oh man. All right, and with that was episode 53 of the Too Hard to Pass podcast. I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, and all that good stuff. If you have any questions, concerns, and comments, leave it on the email. It is toohardtopasspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that is toohardtopasspodcast@gmail.com. That's the number 2. And, if you have any, leave the 5-star reviews, share the podcast and all that stuff. And Jacques, it's your turn to shamelessly plug.
You can find me on the internets all under the name Cousteau. We appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Appreciate those who are watching. We'll see you or talk to you guys next week. Peace.
All right. Peace. We out.